Hi there. I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com, and this is my Smart American Accent Training. Welcome to our Friday live question and answer class. I'll take your questions at any time, so feel free to put them in the chat. You can ask about words, pronunciation, American accent, anything to help you improve overall in American English. At the start of class today, I want to take a quick look at how sometimes we spell the vowel schwa, the sound, as letter A at the start of words. So we're going to look at a few words and talk about the patterns for these words. Words like avoid, afford, approach. I often hear people make an error of saying either a vowel ah or an ah. They're seeing this letter A and saying something closer to what the letter A sounds like in their native language. Whereas in these words, this letter A does not say those sounds. It just has a light, short, little sound. It's vowel schwa, and it's the unstressed vowel schwa, meaning that in all of these words, the is unimportant and the next syllable is important. So in avoid, a good strategy for saying these words and to correct that error is to just leave the letter A off at first and say void, avoid, or ford, afford. Same thing with approach, approach. That can help you to get the rhythm of the words correct and also to change that first vowel into this unstressed sound. How to know whether or not the A at the start of the word is a schwa, is the unstressed vowel? You can look in the dictionary and you'll see the upside down E symbol for the You'll also see what's called a stress mark. So the stress mark goes before the stressed syllable. So in avoid, I can see that the line is right before my V, avoid. So I don't necessarily have to be able to read all of these symbols, but if I'm watching for that stress marker and also for the upside down E for the sound, that can help me. I'll give you an example where we also have, of course, a stressed schwa in English. And so I want to look at this word above. In the dictionary for above, you're still going to see that for that first letter A. And then you'll see your stress marker. And then you're going to see this symbol for the stressed schwa. So above doesn't, again, the O doesn't sound like an O. It sounds the same as this sound. It's going to sound like above. The difference between these two is that this one is short and this one is long. So it's the same sound, same tongue position. It's just that we have a clear in the stressed schwa, and we have a reduced vowel sound in the unstressed schwa, above. So I hope that helps you to kind of watch out for this pattern, make sure that you're saying these letter A vowel schwa sounds correctly in these words, and also learn a little bit about how to check what a word should have. You can see more details for vowel schwa in my videos for vowel schwa. Also for schwa and all of the sounds of English, do check out our Sounds of English course because it teaches you the symbols, what you might be saying wrong on different sounds, how to use the dictionary and look up words so that you get a strong foundation for pronouncing any word in English, all of the sounds of English, not just specific sounds. Okay, so thank you. I see there are many of you here today. Welcome. I'll go ahead and take your questions now. So I see we had a question even before we started for the word lawfully. Let's look at that. So in lawfully, we have first syllable stress. This letter A says the aw vowel, which we often spell like AW, like in law. So you see the stress symbol, you'll see the aw symbol. Then the lawfully, it's not really like the word fully, because it's not stressed on the U sound. So lawful will have schwa there and an E sound. So it sounds like lawfully, but long and then short. So reduce vowels in the second two syllables, lawfully. Great. Hi, Olvia. Nice to see you. Hi, Alginas. I'm not sure if I'm saying your name correctly, but thank you so much. I see you have many supportive comments here on YouTube and on Facebook. I do appreciate that. Okay, we have a question about attribute, attributable, contribute, and tribute. I do have some videos for the excuse me, for some of your words. After class today, I'm going to go back and I'll put some links in the description and in the comments. If I have a longer video for one of your words, I'll connect you to that there. So let's start with some of your words. Attribute is a good example, just like we were talking about with avoid and approach, that to practice the word, you should start on the tribute part and then add your You're going to have that unstressed schwa there. So we have the I vowel in my main syllable. Sounds like trib, or you might even start from rib, trib. And then this BU, this U has the U sound. So a glide and the U, not just an U sound. So trib, ute, attribute. Then when we change to attributable, attributable, we still have the same syllable stress pattern. We just add the schwa and the B and the dark L. So attribute, and then this T, because it's between, it doesn't start a stressed syllable. Attribute is going to sound more like a D. Attributable, attributable. Contribute, same thing. We're going to just change the to a con. So contribute, and then tribute, same thing, just building from that root. So to practice these, I would practice starting with tribute, and then you can add attribute, contribute, and attributable. Good. So I guess we did cover all of your words, but they're all related and a good set of words to cover together. So thank you for that suggestion. So Mahmoud, I don't really understand something that you identified with just means something you could relate to. And if something didn't get traffic, I think they're in your suggestion, they're probably talking about whether or not something got views. So traffic would refer more to internet traffic. Was there a lot of activity, views, etc. on something? Hi, Jose. Nice to see you. So we have a request or a question about Cambly, training on Cambly with fees. So Cambly, I discovered, is a English language training course. I do have one-on-one training, and you can check that out on speechmodification.com. I have in the past had some group classes. Currently, I'm not offering any group classes except the free classes here on YouTube. You can also join as a YouTube member, and we have a bonus class for YouTube members. So a class like this, but a smaller group. But do check out speechmodification.com. You can look at the different training options there on our homepage and on our store page. Great. So we have a question about the word multitask. So there's two options with the multi or multi beginning, where you can either say multitask with an I diphthong, like this one. So multi. I think in both options, we use a true T sound. So it sounds like mull. That's not a U, it's an multi. So either multitask, multitask. I think that has first syllable stress, multitask, or multitask. Again, both of them are stressed in the first syllable, so either multitask or multitask. In multitask, we have a little bit of stress to say the tie because it's longer, because it's a diphthong. So multitask. I'm going to multitask this afternoon, or multitask. I can't multitask very well. Yeah, good question. Thank you. We have a question about synonym and paradigm. So actually, I'm going to come back to yours. I will cover them, but because I already answered one for you, I want to make sure I get to some new people as well. So stay tuned. We'll come back to those. We have a question about costume, historical costume, and dressing up as a hero. So costume, the costume you would wear for Halloween, or costume referring to the overall verb, like historical costume, same pronunciation. So we have an ah vowel, ka, first syllable stress, and then stum. In American English, no y sound here, just right to the So thinking about that like costume. British English, they might do stum with more of a y in there, but we don't want that in American English, costume. And yes, both meanings, same pronunciation. Okay, question about the word breathe. I do have a video about breathe and breathing and breed and breeding. So for breathe, what's important to know is that this th at the end in this word is voiced. So we have breath. Breath has the th sound like mouth or think, which is a voiceless th, but breathe has the voiced th. So I just need to leave my voice on, breathe. And you might find it a little hard to do that at the end of the word. So if that's true for you, you could try saying breathe in, and just leave your voice on as you connect those two words, because the vowel sound is voiced. It might make it easier. Also, just watch out that you don't stop the air. It would sound too much like breathe then if the air gets stopped. Breathe. You should be able to continue on that th sound. So yeah, that ea is just an e sound. So I would rewrite it like breathe, and I would put that e there just to kind of help people know that that th is voiced. Good question. Thank you. That's a difficult word. Okay, we have a request for the word finish. Finish has first syllable stress. Both vowels are the I vowel, but because the first one is stressed, it's going to be a little longer. And then the next one is going to be more of a reduced vowel, still the same sound. Just like we had the two schwas, we have two I sounds. This one is long, this one is short. So it sounds like fin-ish, finish. Still little, almost no vowel there in that second syllable. Good question. Thank you. Excuse me, I have to sneeze. Now that I said it, I won't be able to. Okay, I see some of you have repeated questions, so let me go through and answer questions from new viewers first, and then I'll come back and return to your second and third questions, those of you who have asked more than one. Okay, question about the word important. This is definitely one where I would recommend checking out my video for important. After class, I'll put a link in the comments for you so you can go and get more detail, because Americans pronounce important in a weird way. It's not weird. It follows the patterns and rules for American English, but it's challenging for non-native speakers because of how we do the T sounds. So first syllable is unstressed, and then the stress is on the poor syllable. And then we have that or vowel. Just make sure that you're gliding into the tight back or. So I would build from the or, poor, important. And then we can say important. I can do the T's, but typically in connected speech, native speakers don't. What they do is they stop this first T. So you're going to say import, put your tongue up for where the T is, but don't let any T sound out. Import. And then they're going to stop this T as well, which means to do that, I have a very short little N sound. Important. So an important meeting, an important day, it's very important to me. You can hear a kind of or is short and n is short, important. I go into more detail in my video about important, but it's a tough one. If that's hard for you, doing a little t, important, it's important to me, is okay. It's just you can hear how it doesn't flow as smoothly, and native speakers won't typically use that. Tough word. Hope that helps you. Okay. We have a question. Okay, I'm going to go back and repeat because now I think that I've covered all the new ones. And so some of you who asked more than one, I can get to your second ones. We have a question about bringing and banged, the ng sound. Oops, not bringed. I was thinking ahead to banged. Bringing. So bringing is like singing. We just use the ng sound both times. So what you want to watch out for is don't let a G sound, not bringing, but bringing. You're lifting in the back for the NG and you're sliding right into that I sound. Same thing with bang and banged. We're going to have that NG sound, bang. If I was doing banging, I would do the same thing here, or banged. I just go right from the ng to the d, banged. So no sound for that E and no G sound, just an NG sound. I do have a video about singing, which walks through more details there. Sometimes when we have an NG, it is an NG sound plus a G, like finger has the fing, the NG sound, and then the G sound, finger, or hunger. I do have a lesson also on my website on speechmodification.com that'll tell you if you just have an NG like bringing and singing, or if you have an NG and a G like finger and hunger. But most of the time when you see the letters NG, you're just going to have the ng sound. So good question. Thank you. Okay, coming back to additional second questions. We had a question for synonym. Synonym. I do have a video for this as well. So first syllable stress, letter Y says the I sound. Letter O here is going to sound like an so it sounds like sin, and then again, another Y as the I sound, unstressed this time. So synonym, synonym. Yeah, this one's just kind of got an unusual spelling with those Y's. And then your other one was paradigm. Again, another one where spelling might be a little bit confusing because we don't typically have this combination of GM. First syllable stress, we have the air vowel. So AR says the air sound. So this PAR is just like the same as a pair of shoes. So pair, this letter A is going to be a schwa, just like in our above, across approach that we talked about in the beginning. Pair, and then the letter I here does say the I diphthong. So para, I'll write it in a way that makes more sense spelling-wise. It's just like dime, like the coin. So paradigm, the paradigm. Good questions. Thank you for those requests. Okay, let's look and see what else has come in, what other questions there have been that I missed. We have a question for the words arm, harm, and warm. So arm and harm both have the R diphthong. So pretty straightforward. Build it from R. Try R, arm, R, harm. That should get the correct sound. And then warm, the letters AR here say the OR diphthong. The problem is if I rewrite it with OR, then I get the word worm, which actually has the ER sound. So worm is like were plus M. War is like this kind of war plus M. So warm and war both have the or diphthong. You can think of this war as the same as that war. So I wore a warm coat. We were talking about worms. This is one where spelling is just very misleading and confusing, and the words may not be so hard to say, but to know which vowel sound you need can be helpful. So I always like going from an anchor like R, arm, or warm, worm. It's going to really help me hear and make the correct R sound or R diphthong sound in the words. I do have a video about warm and worm that you can check out, and a number of videos about the OR, AR spelling, how that can be confusing. I do think, again, I'll mention my Sounds of English course on speechmodification.com. It really can help you with knowing which sounds are supposed to be in words and then kind of decoding how the spelling is misleading. So building from the sound and what you hear and what you notice, how to look it up in the dictionary and recognize those sounds, and then kind of overcome some of those issues that can arise because the spelling of words in English is not very straightforward. Okay, we have a request for the word frozen. So frozen, first syllable stress, letter O does say the O diphthong. I would try building it from row, and then add the F, fro. Then my Z-E-N, frozen, zen. I really basically have no vowel between my Z and my N. This is a syllabic N, which means if there's any vowel, it's going to be a little sound, a little schwa, but just move right from your Z to your N. Zen, zen, frozen. Yeah. So I would rewrite that as fro. Maybe just thinking about that O by itself, and then zen, frozen. Good request. Thank you. I hope you're not frozen wherever you are. If it's cold there, many places, I think it's still pretty hot. Here today, a little bit cold. Yesterday was warm. So we're kind of in that in-between fall weather here in the Seattle area. Okay. Question about, sorry, I'm scanning through to make sure I didn't miss anybody's questions. Great. We have a question about extortionate. I don't know if extortionate is a word. So extortion sounds like extortion. It's actually an X sound because it has stress on the tor. Extor, true or, shun, extortion. I'm not spelling it correctly. Extortion, yeah, with a T. TH, extortion. Kind of no vowel there. Let's check your extortionate. Let me see if I can pull up my dictionary here on my phone. I like the Oxford Learner's Dictionary because it'll show me English and British English and American English. So if I look at extortion, ATE. Okay, yeah, an adjective. So extortionate prices are prices that are showing signs of extortion. I learned something new. So extortionate is just the same as extortion, and then we just add the schwa. I guess that's not very clear. I'll show you here. Extortionate just adds an ut. So a schwa. Shunut. You might have to put a little more of a schwa in there. So it would sound like ix, light and short, ix, or you might do ick, store. Think about it as the word store. Extortion. I would write it as an it, even though in the dictionary I saw it as a schwa, ut, extortionate. You can think about ut that way too. But I think it's easier for us to make the reduced vowel there, extortionate, it. if we just kind of go from the N to the T with very little vowel. Extortionate. Okay, good. I learned something new. I hope you're not dealing with extortionate prices where you are. Great. We have a question. So a question about the word enigm. So while I have my dictionary open, I'm going to check and see what that word is. Enig. So maybe you meant enigma. Yeah, I think maybe you just accidentally left off your A. So in enigma, we have second syllable stress. So we have the enigma. We're going to have either an I or an here. Let's check the dictionary and see what they do. I would probably write that as an I because letter E is usually an I sound. Yeah, that's how they do it. Enigma. And so you'll see the I, the stress symbol, our nig, and then the letter A at the end is going to be a schwa. So it sounds like I or enigma. Enigma. That's an enigma. Okay. Another difficult word spelling-wise, and a little bit pronunciation-wise too. Okay. Question about the word lid and lead. I'll come back to advantage if I have time, but I do have a video for advantage. So if I don't have time to get to your second word, watch for a link in the comments after, taking you to that video for advantage. Similar patterns as important with the how we do the T's or the D's stopped. So we have a question for lid and lead. You could also be asking about lead. So this word, I'm assuming you're talking about lead as in a leader. We also have lead, the heavy substance, which has a different pronunciation. So let's put that on here too. So lid has my I vowel. That's my lax high front vowel. And lead, like a leader, has my E vowel. That's my tense high front vowel. And then lead has my F vowel, like in red and tent. To get the difference between lid and lead, or similar words like live and leave, I have a number of videos for this, rid and read. What you want is to be able to, probably for most people, learn how to do the I vowel, learn words like it and didn't. But it's most challenging in these kinds of contexts because they're similar to each other with the other sounds. So you can use did or it, another similar word with an I sound, and match it. It, lid, did, lid, and then maybe me or we lead, because you're probably not going to have too much trouble between it and we with those vowels. It's just that these are similar to each other. And then with red, maybe said, read, or read, led. Getting the difference in all of these vowels is usually about figuring out which ones aren't in your native language. And for most people, that's this one. Learning to learn common words with this sound, really hear and differentiate the I and the E, and then practicing a lot with the I sounds, live, lid, rid, did, etc. That's all stuff that I talk about in my Sounds of English course, as well as my American Accent 6-week course. We look in depth at some of these error patterns and challenging combinations of words to help you develop an understanding of what's wrong or what's different in your speech based on your native language sound system, how to hear the sounds differently, and then implement them into speaking English. Okay, we have time for a couple more quick questions, and then we're going to need to wrap up for today. If you're watching this as a replay, you can leave your questions in the comments and I'll direct you to resources with the answers, or I'll cover your words in a future Word of the Day class. Thank you so much for those of you who have made suggestions for Word of the Day. I am working my way through your requests, and it takes a few months between the time that you ask and the time that the video comes out, but don't be afraid or never fear. Those are on their way. So thank you again for that. Okay. We have a question about pal. What's difficult to why pronouncing pal is difficult. Coming up, I believe on Sunday, I covered your word pal. I'm going to be talking about pal, pill, pole, a bunch of different words, Paul, that have the ah sound. Probably what's tough for you is this putting the ah together with the L. It's a less common combination. So I would say maybe try practicing words like sat and that, getting that ah vowel, and then working on pal, or maybe even pat is my pal, ah, kind of getting that ah sound, then working on getting it in with the L. I think the video I made for pal and the other sounds with the vowel and the L and the P is going to help you. So check that out on Sunday when it comes out. Hopefully that can help you. That is a challenging combination. Okay. Question about the word executive. I do have a number of videos for executive as well. This is definitely something that a lot of people need help with. It has second syllable stress. The letters EX say the X sound in this word. Actually not the X, but the IGS is voiced. So stress is before the Z of Zek. And then this U is not just an U, but a U. So we have a glide and an U. This T is going to be flapped. Okay, so here's what's tough. Sounds like ig, zek, yeah. Actually, rather than executive, we often change it more to a yeah. So this might actually be a schwa rather than an u. Then I'm going to write the flap T as a D, and that might help. Thinking about it as executive. To practice getting it right, start on the zek and then build from there. Executive. You want this ig to be super short, unclear vowel, reduced vowel, not clear vowel, and just light touch, executive. Okay. For your other requests, I do have a video for temporary and literally. I'll give you the links for those here after class so you can check them out. And then I'll take a couple from some of the other requests here. We have intertwined, intervene, and interfere. So I intentionally said those the way you'll hear Americans say them. If we have interfere, for example, I can say it with a T, interfere. And people do that some of the time. Often when there's an NT like that in the middle, Americans will say that more as inner. And then interfere, that has the ear diphthong. So it would look like this. And then we might leave that T out. We have a strong tight back but actually not strong, weak, short. So inner, and then my stress is on the ear, interfere. So same thing for intertwined. That second T entwined, we'll say the T, but not this one. And for intervene, I can either say intervene or intervene. And so for the vene ending, you have I would rewrite it like this, intervene or intertwine. I'm not going to really respell twine because it's going to be just the same, like wine, twine. Hope that helps you. So that's true for lots of words that start with INTER. Rather than internet or interview, we might say internet, interview, international, etc. Okay. Question about the Z sound followed by the TH sound. Increase the time. Okay, so in your example, increase, that is an S sound. So increase the, When I'm moving from the S to the voice TH, increase the. I'm just going to take my tongue from the S position and put it out for the TH position. If I had a Z sound like was the, same thing happens. My voice just stays on. I did also have somebody request how to do that with the voiceless TH. So like is the Z to TH, is thinking. Going from the S to the Z to the TH is think. I just turn my voice off and put the tongue forward. Or yes, thinking. Not that we would say those together, but that's an example of an S and a TH. So basically, when you're moving from S or Z to TH or voice TH, you're just moving the tongue from behind the teeth in the S or Z position to between the teeth in the Th position. There's no special magic to this. Just I would practice a lot of, I would take, is, has, was, and does, and practice moving to is that, is, has that, has the, that is them, that was them, does that, does the. So you get like a lot of combinations of common Z or S ending words and TH beginning words, and just try to practice moving between the two smoothly and fluently as possible. Not easy, definitely, but challenging for a lot of people, but worth the time to put that in, because so many of those common words, as you can see, is, does, was, has, yes, us, end with S or Z, and so many words that we use all the time, these, those, them, they, that, their, etc., start with TH sound. So yeah, worth investing a little bit of time in that kind of 2-word practice to get it smoother. Okay, wonderful questions today. I guess I'll take a couple more because I hate leaving anybody behind. So we'll go a little long today. We have a question. Okay, you're clarifying your phrase was it's the same. It's the same. So same thing. It's has the T and then S. It's the same. Go slowly. Try it's the. You can also just try doing the S and the THE, like the. Even though that's weird, that's what we have to do when we're connecting. It's the same. So your tongue is just going between the teeth and behind the teeth, from the S to the TH, the S's to the THs. Okay, great. Question about, I'm going to just see if I missed some since I'm, okay. So literally, we almost talk about this almost every week because everybody wants to know. It's a tough one. Think about it like these, literally. Other question we had that, let me just see if I missed some others. Advantage, I'll come back to yours. Advantage. I can either say it with a little t, advantage, or advantage. This A is like an I sound or an sound. And this one is too, advantage. So the van is stressed. So this one is going to be another reduced vowel, kind of like an advantage. I think I say that one more like advantage with an or an advantage, because sounds a little harsh there to me. But we don't want advantage, rather advantage. Okay. Temporary and inevitable. For temporary, British English, I think they might leave this or out and do temporary, like reduce it down to 2. Temporary, we tend to do temporary, all of the syllables. So first syllable stress, tem. The OR is an ER sound, temper. So if you can say, start with temper, temporary. It's just that the per-ary is very fast and it's very tough for some people to do e quickly. So you could build from the back also. Airy, temporary. And then you also asked about inevitable. So inevitable, stress on the syllable, light and short on your in this T is more like a D, a flap. This able by itself, able at the ends of words, bull. Inevitable. Yeah, definitely for a lot of those, just slowing down, going syllable by syllable, and then sequencing it, putting it together, slowly building it back up can be helpful. Great. Okay. For predict, addict, and contradict, different syllable stress we have there. So predict, your stress is on the dict syllable. And so the PRE sounds like predict. For addict, we have the stress on the add syllable. So we have an black cat vowel. So it's just like the word addict. Long on your vowel, and then for contradict, stress is on the last syllable again. So we would just have contra. So this is an little secondary stress there. I'm guessing getting really tiny, sorry. Contradict. Great. Question about paw. So paw, when we're talking about our pal, our pole, etc., paw has the rounded, semi-rounded vowel. Open up the jaw more. Try other words like law and jaw, and then just add your P, paw. So I would go from and then add P, paw. Question about Adam and autumn. So Adam, the name, and Adam, the particle, the same. Both of them have first syllable stress. Black cat vowel. They both use a flap because T and D in the middle both tend to use flap. Adam. In the dictionary, you would see this with a D and this with a T, but they both would sound like a flap. Adam. And then the letter A or O, also both schwa. So it sounds like Adam. But autumn has the like paw, first syllable stress. That's more like autumn. In the dictionary, you're going to see autumn. So writing it out, I would write autumn. Adam. Tough words. Thank you. The good suggestions you guys have. All right. Really running a little long today, so we're going to wrap up. For the request for girl, just build it from your girl, and try to think of it almost as being two syllables with a dark O. I do have a video for girl. I'll put the link for that in the comments after class. You can come back and check that out in more detail. We have a request about tips to have an American accent. So basically that's all of my videos are going to talk about pronunciation and American accent. My general advice is learn what patterns you have that are different from American accent based on your native language and the type of English you speak. You can get resources for that on speechmodification.com and on our free resources, our free online courses and our paid online courses. It's going to walk you through. And then just looking at if you have pretty good pronunciation and it's more about accent, some of the little details about how we connect words, we link and reduce sounds. You can check those out in our Real Talk course. That's a little bit more advanced course talking about just details of accent that, how to get some of those things that make you sound more like a native speaker, have more of an American accent versus just correct pronunciation. We have a question about whether irrevocable sounds like revoke, and it doesn't. So revoke has the O sound and a schwa here, revoke. Second syllable stress, but irrevocable is stressed on the rev. So irrevocable is an I, and then stress the rev, irrev. And then this O turns into a schwa, sounds like an And then again, we just talked about with inevitable, irrevocable is very similar with the bull at the end. So that would be irrevocable differences. But rather than revoke, I'm going to revoke your privileges. We have irrevocable differences. Okay. Another question from Sydney, one of our members. It's the same. Asking about whether the S cancels the. So can I say it's the same as it's the same? That's how you're writing it, right? It's the same. It's the same. It's the same. It's the same. Yeah, I think sometimes in really fast speech, it's the same. It's the same. It's the same. We aren't as precise with that TH. It's the same. Let's see. It's the same. It's the same as. Yeah, I do think you can kind of reduce that to the S kind of turn into a Z, and we still have our schwa. Let me think about that a little bit more and get back to you in our Sunday class. That's definitely something that, there's common reductions for fluent speech. And then there's kind of sounds dropping out. So where the line is between what we actually hear as native speakers, where we can drop and where we don't. I don't want to make sorry about that. Don't want to make too fast of a judgment on that, but that's a great question. So thanks, Sydney. In our Sunday members class, I'll explore that a little bit further for you. We have a question about the words right and right, and those two are the same. So they're the same pronunciation. They both just have the R sound and the I sound and the T, right? And then for girl and world, like I mentioned before, I will put a link for you in both of those. You just want to think about that both girl and world have the sound. So thinking about and then girl and world. So they're one syllable words, but kind of breaking it up and stretching out your is going to help you for both of those words. Okay, last request for item. Just like we were talking about Adam sounding like Adam with a D. Item, same thing. Just think about item. So almost no vowel there, or if there's any vowel, it's going to be like a schwa and a item. That's the item. Okay. Long class today. Thanks for sticking with me. Thank you for all of the great requests and suggestions. It was really worth my time to take the time to go through and answer them all for you. If I missed you somehow along the way, my apologies. You can leave a comment and I'll go back through later on, be looking at the chat and making sure that I have links for you and resources about the words you asked about today. You can find more using the search tools on speechmodification.com, or you can always leave a comment on any of my videos. I'll direct you to resources for the sounds and the words that you're asking about. I hope you'll join me again next Friday with our live class, and I'll be back again tomorrow with our word of the day, as well as on Sunday, we'll have our members class. So channel members are people who have joined the channel as members. There's different levels of support you can join in. And we have a small group class where people can ask their questions throughout the week. So if you can't make it to class and you have a question, you don't have to wait several months for your video to come along. We'll do it each week on Sunday. Thanks, those of you who are channel members and subscribers. I really appreciate all of your support, and I hope to see you again soon. I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com. Remember, if you want to sound like a native speaker, you can do it. speechmodification.com. Bye, everyone. Thanks for a great class.